WSL back in action this weekend. Some really, really spicy fixtures. Kicking off things, Chelsea 4-2 Brighton. A 9th successive win. I'm getting really bored of reading this out. A 10th successive, an 11th successive, a 12th. I feel like this is where it's going to go.
Sounds like the 12 days of Christmas. On the first day of Christmas, Chelsea won a game. Are they going to win the league?
Yes.
On the second day of Christmas, Chelsea won again.
It's getting a bit relentless, so apologies if you are bored of the same sentiment that keeps coming out, but I can't do anything but, relay the facts as they are. Chelsea now 5 points clear over Man City at the top. Not the most straightforward of wins though. We're going to get stuck into this game because it did throw up a lot of curveballs.
Literally.
A lot of curveballs. It was
blowing all over the place.
Unusual. I mean, 3 of the 6 goals came from mistakes on the ball. It was a sloppy game, to say the least. What were your thoughts on it, Rach?
It reminded me of, that Michael Jackson song, like, what have they done to the world? And he's like in this, like, he's holding onto a tree and there's just wind blowing. It was like that kind of vibe.
I was surprised actually that a lot of the fixtures went ahead. I thought like the Storm was going to knock out, but...
Yeah,
wild.
It was
so exposed, some of these stadiums as well.
Oh, Dagenham is a wind tunnel when it's not windy. So, it felt like a bit of a leveler, I think, in some of the games. I think Brighton were very unlucky not to come away with something. They created plenty of opportunities. They could have gone ahead early on. They caught Chelsea out playing out from the back.
They are in fact human though. That's nice to see.
Brighton should have put it away. I think Hampton was on hand to prevent, I think it was Keats with the initial shot, and then the follow-up shot was cleared off the line. So heart and mouth moment for Chelsea fans. And then like you touched
I think that could have been a game changer though.
Well, this is what I was going to say. It's like, yes, of course, and Chelsea fans will tell me this, Chelsea of course created opportunities as well, loads of them. But the timings of some of Brighton's chances could have shifted the game on its
100%.
head. So when Aggie Beaver-Jones scored their second goal, stealing the ball off Sophie Bagley's toes, like you just cannot be doing that. They almost went down the other end immediately and almost equalised. It was Kiko Seiko with a diving header.
Oh my God, what a save from Hampton.
Had that gone in though, like, it was the moment of the Brighton chances that could have shifted the game. And there was a couple of those times where like Chelsea went ahead and then Brighton almost, and if they'd equalised then what could have happened? And there was the third goal, sucker punch to have saved it, and the parry basically bounced off Johanna Wright and Cannerad.
That's not fair.
So that's difficult. But then Seika again had an opportunity one-on-one v Hampton, and she just kind of took that second too long to release the shot. So it was stuff like that where you're like, could it have gone 2-2? Could it have gone 3-3? So yeah, it was an exciting game to watch. I think Brighton can be proud of their performance. Dario Vidicic was very proud of the performance post-match when I spoke to him. He recognised that they caused Chelsea problems. I think the games after international breaks are always interesting ones because everyone has to get their heads back together, and Chelsea are gearing up for four games in about 10 days. Brighton too have 3 games in a week. So, it's always interesting to see how teams come out. But I asked Sonia Bonpasto about this, about the weather, and they played Manchester United before the break in a really windy situation as well, and she was saying how like when the weather is like that, you're kind of forced obviously to play it more on the ground, and when you're playing it more on the ground, it gives the opposition opportunities to break up your play a little bit more and infiltrate, like get in the way of what they're trying to do, and maybe get a bit more possession than perhaps they would have had, just purely because there's a lot more on the ground play. Now it did take Brighton a little while, I think, to get used to the win, because there were balls over the top that were just carried on off the pitch for a few times. But it did make for an exciting game. I enjoyed it.
I think the most exciting thing was that Chelsea at points looked like they had their back to the wall. They looked unsettled, and I think that was really nice to see. It did feel like there was that human-esque side to Chelsea where I didn't feel that convinced that actually they were going to walk away with the win. Like Brighton really put them to task, and I think there seemed to be a level of sloppiness that I'd not really seen in Chelsea from other games. The playing out from the back situation, and that it applies to both teams because both teams had their bloody moments,
and conceded because of it.
I've got to say, Hannah Hampton,
unreal,
but also caused a lot of
making up for it with the saves.
Worldy saves, and then on the other hand, just decision making and kind of not clearing the ball. Like I know there's a kind of, maybe you want to play out from the back again because you don't want to loft the ball in the air, but Christ, when you've got two players bearing down on you, get that shit away. I just to me they looked a little bit unsettled, and I do think that was probably one of the most vulnerable that we've seen Chelsea this season.
Yeah, but I think what the difference was in the two teams was quality in key moments and decision making in key moments, and kind of, those sharper passes when needed. And I think they're the little things where you're kind of like, they're just the differences that you see. But I agree.
When you're playing out from the back, though, especially for a team like Brighton, who's still kind of not getting used to playing out from the back, I think they're doing it really well, and they're kind of building up that confidence doing it. But you also have to have perfection. The timing of the pass needs to be bang on. The quality of the pass needs to be bang on. There was one goal that was conceded. I can't remember which one it was now, but the quality of the pass to the other defender, it was bobbled. Like you don't have time. Chelsea are going to pounce. So if you're giving your player a hospital ball and it's like bobbled, then you've got to take time to bring it under control. And then by that point, they've already nicked it off you and scored. Like, it has to be perfect, and it wasn't.
Yeah, but I also think what made the game fun was that they were two teams that liked to press, and they were two teams that liked to play out from the back. So it really felt kind of transitional at times, and made for the neutral an enjoyable game to watch. But like I said, I do think Brighton could have got something out of this.
Yeah, well, and I think that would have been a fair result. I think had that been a draw, I'd have been like, you know what, yeah, fair play. I don't think the score is necessarily reflective of what actually went down in that game.
Didn't feel like a 4-2 game.
No, it felt like a 4-3 or a 4-4. That's what I would have put it at. We've got a question in from Shalvi on Instagram. They've said, do you think Chelsea can go unbeaten this season? Christ, I hope not.
Sometimes you can get a bit carried away with seeing a team like Chelsea being 9 games in 9, which is incredible, but it's really a difficult thing to do, to go unbeaten all season. We're not quite even halfway there yet. I think when we start to see Chelsea having to manage other competitions, we expect them to go deep into your FA Cups, your League Cups, Champions League. That's when things get even tougher, and I appreciate that they're used to managing multiple games and they've got a deep squad, but it's just that constant switch of like, now we're in the Champions League, now we're in the FA Cup and it's a cup game, now we're back in the league again. So if a team can do it, it'll probably be Chelsea, but it is a very, very difficult thing to do.
I don't want to see it though.
Fair.
I think it's that. I think it almost makes the league and the football that we have in the UK feel less competitive. When you've got a team that essentially acts as a monopoly, it kind of feels like, well, you lose the competitiveness when you've only got that top spot in the WSL to play for, and you've got a team that's like bossing it in all of the competitions. It's it's something I don't want to see. Do you know what I mean?
Especially in previous years, given it's come down to goal difference and it's come down to a point or two, and it's generally coming down to the final day as well. That's what I'd much rather have.
For sure, definitely. Okay, let's talk about the subs that Sonia brought in. Niamh Charles made her return from injury at half-time, replacing Ashley Lawrence. Katarina Macario's cross created their third goal, and she got the assist for the fourth, and Maya Ramirez came close to scoring. So, as subs go, you don't really get much better.
Well, she made some substitutions at half-time, which, isn't that common. I think she made a double substitution, and one of those was Niamh Charles. I asked her about, bringing her back and what she added to the squad, and she was basically saying that she didn't feel like they were impactful enough on the left-hand side, and I think Charles definitely changed that. I thought Macario brought a bit more directness, as did Ramirez. She terrorised the back line, but I feel like as well, they're just ever so slightly different players, so it just gives the defence something else to think about, and they have to adjust, and they're already managing a difficult game, they're already managing difficult conditions, and now a different profile of player, if you like, come on, that they have to manage. And you could see, I feel like that maybe just helped put the game slightly at a touching distance for Brighton.
I would have to agree with that. I think, I think it goes back to the squad depth that Chelsea have on the bench. When you look at kind of who can come for you, and not even out of any kind of real urgency there, it was just who was going to finish off the game. And someone like Maya Ramirez, when she comes on, people are shitting themselves, and rightly so.
Do you know what was impressive though? This was a Brighton without Fran Kirby.
Yep.
And I just think, like, for them to perform the way they did, like, Fran would have given them such an extra edge. I also think Poppy Pattinson and Bergsvan had really good games defensively. So there's definitely, performances that they can take out of that and be very proud of, and it's just whether they can consistently play like that going forward.
Yeah, I think had it not been for some silly mistakes from Brighton, I think it could have been a very different game.